My beloved child, do not pass by this message too quickly. Something has been trying to reach your spirit. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Not at some distant moment when life finally becomes easier. Now. There is a reason your eyes landed here today. There is a reason your heart felt the slightest pull to stay. And there is a reason I, Michael, guardian of heavenly armies and messenger of divine strength, have been sent with urgency into this moment. You have been asking for a sign. Maybe not with your lips. Maybe not in words anyone else could hear. But heaven has heard the silent questions hidden behind your smiles. The questions you carry into the night. The thoughts you never reveal. The fears you disguise as patience. The exhaustion you call strength. The loneliness you call independence. The disappointment you call acceptance. My child, heaven has seen every one of them. And today, I need you to listen carefully because what I am about to reveal has been unfolding around you longer than you realize. For weeks, perhaps months, you have felt something shifting. You sensed it during quiet moments. You noticed it in strange coincidences. You felt it when certain names appeared unexpectedly. When old memories resurfaced without warning. When your heart became restless for reasons you could not explain. You tried to dismiss it. You told yourself you were imagining things. You convinced yourself that life was simply being life. But what if I told you that the stirring within you is not random? What if I told you that an invisible battle has been taking place around your destiny? What if I told you that doors you thought were permanently closed are being touched by divine hands at this very moment? My beloved child, there are things happening beyond your sight. There are conversations occurring in places you cannot see. Movements taking place behind curtains that have not yet been lifted. You have looked at your circumstances and concluded that nothing is changing. Yet heaven looks at those same circumstances and sees 1,000 pieces already moving into place. This is why you must not allow appearances to deceive you. Because appearances have lied to you before. The obstacle looked permanent. Yet it disappeared. The heartbreak looked final. Yet you survived. The disappointment felt unbearable. Yet you carried on. The door seemed locked forever. Yet somehow another path emerged. You have already lived through proof that what is visible is not always the whole truth. And still, when new challenges appear, you sometimes forget how many impossible situations you have already overcome. Heaven remembers. Every tear. Every prayer. Every moment you chose not to give up. Every time you stood back up after life knocked you down. Every time you whispered, "I cannot do this anymore," and then somehow found the strength to continue. You thought no one noticed. But heaven noticed everything. And that is why I have come with urgency today. Because there is something you need to understand before the next chapter begins. The pressure you have been feeling is not meaningless. The delays have not been accidental. The confusion has not been wasted. The waiting has not been punishment. There is preparation hidden inside what you called frustration. There is wisdom hidden inside what you called loss. There is protection hidden inside what you called rejection. And there is a revelation hidden inside what you currently call uncertainty. You see only fragments. Heaven sees the entire picture. You see a closed door. Heaven sees the danger that was behind it. You see a delay. Heaven sees the timing that is being perfected. You see silence. Heaven sees preparation. You see emptiness. Heaven sees space being made for something greater. Yet I know this truth is difficult to accept when you are living through the middle of the story. Because the middle is where faith is tested. The middle is where answers seem absent. The middle is where doubt becomes loud. The middle is where people start questioning everything they once believed. And perhaps that is exactly where you are right now. Perhaps you have grown tired. Perhaps you have wondered whether your prayers have been forgotten. Perhaps you have looked at others receiving blessings while your own breakthrough seemed delayed. Perhaps part of you has been tempted to stop expecting anything extraordinary. If so, hear me now. Do not lower your expectations. Do not shrink your dreams. Do not bury your hope. Because heaven has not forgotten your address. Your name still echoes through divine places. Your story is still being written. Your purpose has not expired. Your calling has not vanished. And your season is not over. Not even close. In fact, what concerns heaven today is not that you are weak. It is that you have been carrying burdens you were never meant to carry alone. You have tried to solve everything yourself. You have tried to predict every outcome. You have tried to prepare for every possible disappointment. You have tried to protect your heart from future pain. But in doing so, you have also blocked yourself from receiving some of the peace that has been waiting for you. My child, there is a difference between wisdom and worry. Wisdom prepares. Worry imprisons. Wisdom listens. Worry panics. Wisdom trusts. Worry consumes. And lately, there have been moments when worry has been whispering louder than faith. Not because you are weak. Because you are human. But today, heaven is interrupting that voice. Today, heaven is reminding you that your future is not controlled by your fears. Your destiny is not determined by your anxiety. Your purpose is not limited by your current circumstances. There are forces working on your behalf that you cannot yet see. There are blessings moving toward you while you are busy questioning whether they exist. There are answers already traveling through paths you have not discovered. And there is one specific area of your life that heaven keeps drawing attention toward. You know exactly which area I mean. Even now, as these words reach you, a particular situation has already entered your thoughts. You did not force it. It simply appeared. That is because your spirit recognizes what your mind has been trying to ignore. You have reached a crossroads. Not necessarily a physical crossroads. A spiritual one. A place where old versions of yourself can no longer accompany you. A place where old fears must be released. A place where old limitations must be confronted. A place where heaven is asking a simple question. Will you continue defining yourself by what happened to you? Or will you begin defining yourself by who you are becoming? The answer to that question changes everything. Because many people spend their lives chained to old chapters. They continue reliving yesterday while tomorrow waits patiently outside. They continue carrying identities created by pain. They continue listening to voices that should have lost influence years ago. They continue shrinking themselves because someone once convinced them they were not enough. But you were never created to remain trapped in old seasons. You were created to grow, to transform, to rise, to discover dimensions of strength you have not yet encountered. And this is where the message becomes urgent. Because the next opportunity approaching your life requires a version of you that is stronger than the version standing here today. Not harder. Not colder. Stronger. There is a difference. Hardness closes the heart. Strength expands it. Hardness builds walls. Strength builds foundations. Hardness expects disappointment. Strength remains open to miracles. And heaven is preparing you for strength. Real strength. The kind that remains steady when circumstances shake. The kind that remains hopeful when evidence disappears. The kind that remains faithful when outcomes remain unseen. That strength is being developed inside you right now. Even during moments when you think nothing is happening. Especially during those moments. Because some of the greatest transformations occur in silence. Seeds grow underground before they break through the surface. Stars form in darkness before they illuminate the sky. And destinies often develop in hidden places before the world ever notices. Yet there is something else you must know. Something many never realize until it is too late. Not everyone around you understands where you are going. Not everyone around you recognizes what heaven placed inside you. Not everyone around you can see the future waiting beyond your current circumstances. Some people judge your life based on your present chapter. Heaven judges it based on your final destination. That difference matters. Because if you rely too heavily on human opinions, you may abandon paths heaven intended you to walk. You may shrink dreams heaven intended you to pursue. You may doubt gifts heaven intended you to use. And you may miss opportunities that arrive disguised as challenges. This is why discernment has become essential. Pay attention to what repeatedly appears before you. Pay attention to the opportunities that keep knocking. Pay attention to the instincts that refuse to disappear. Pay attention to what brings life into your spirit. Because heaven often speaks through patterns before it speaks through outcomes. And lately, patterns have been forming around you. Subtle patterns. Quiet patterns. Easy to miss patterns. Yet they are there. The same themes appearing again. The same lessons returning. The same opportunities resurfacing. The same inner calling refusing to leave. None of this is accidental. There is purpose hidden inside repetition. And soon, very soon, one of those repeating patterns is going to reveal its true meaning. When it does, many pieces will suddenly make sense. Questions that have lingered for months will begin receiving answers. Confusion will begin giving way to clarity. And what once felt impossible will begin looking surprisingly attainable. But before that moment arrives, there is one final thing heaven needs from you. Trust. Not blind trust. Not passive trust. Living trust. The kind that continues walking even before the road becomes visible. The kind that chooses faith over fear. The kind that refuses to surrender 5 minutes before the breakthrough arrives. Because, my child, there are countless people who walked away just before their miracle appeared. They quit too soon. They stopped believing too soon. They abandoned hope too soon. Do not become one of them. You have come too far. You have survived too much. You have endured too many storms to stop now. The chapter ahead carries more significance than you currently understand. In fact, if you could see what heaven sees, you would realize that certain events already set in motion cannot be stopped. The wheels are turning. The pieces are moving. The preparations are underway. And somewhere, even now, something connected to your future is quietly approaching. Something important. Something unexpected. Something that will force you to see yourself differently. Something that will challenge assumptions you have carried for years. Something that will reveal why so many delays had to occur exactly as they did. But there is a detail about this approaching moment that I have not yet revealed. A detail so important that it changes the meaning of everything I have said. And when you understand this hidden truth, you will finally realize why heaven sent this urgent message today. Because the person connected to this next chapter, the person whose decision has already begun shifting events behind the scenes, the person who has been wrestling with thoughts they have not shared openly, has just reached a turning point. And what happened after that turning point is something I must reveal next. But not yet. Because before you hear what occurred, you must first understand why heaven allowed the silence to last this long. And when that answer is uncovered, nothing about your situation will look the same again.